How's it going? Good morning. Kyle Anderson, Bama football on YouTube, following Alabama's 23-21 loss to Oklahoma. Now, as I've said in my morning video that I posted maybe an hour or so ago, I know what you're thinking. I know you're probably you woke up and you're like, "This is the season done?" And I think if you've kind of let the dust settle a little bit, you understand fully and clearly that Alabama has to beat Auburn. Number one, right? You have to beat Eastern Illinois, number one, because that's the team you play. But more importantly, you have to beat Auburn or it's all done. And if you beat Auburn, then there is life at the end of the tunnel because there's a couple different scenarios, and we'll go over that during the show. And this morning, I will take your calls as well because I do want to hear from you on this team about, your questions, things that stood out from last night, questions you might have about, how the remainder of the season looks. But if you beat Auburn, there's a great percentage that Alabama does get into the SEC title game. I know. Believe it or not, there is some good news to think about. But I fully understand going to the barn is not easy. So Alabama has dropped 2 games this season. And I know it's felt like they've dropped more conference games maybe, but they haven't. And we'll look at the SEC standings, and I'll kind of explain to you where Alabama is in the SEC standings because they do have a monumental win over the Georgia Bulldogs. That win is going to come into play greatly. So with that said, thank you for joining my morning show. I will be live again at 1 p.m. Central Time later today to talk about the AP Top 25 rankings. And I understand that the AP rankings, it doesn't mean anything, but I think it gives you a snapshot of how people are seeing the rankings, and the official college football playoff rankings will drop on Tuesday night, and we'll also be live for that as well. So right now, kind of leading off with some odds. These are the odds to win the national championship following yesterday's results. So you have Ohio State, who is a clear favorite, plus 185, followed by Indiana, Texas A&M, even despite their come-from-behind victory to beat South Carolina. And then Notre Dame, surprisingly, at plus 950, followed by Georgia and Oregon. So those are kind of the top teams from an odds perspective expected to win the national championship. For the Heisman, Ty, after last night's performance, despite him having I think when you look to the game for Ty, and I know a lot of people are probably asking is like, did he regress? Right? Is Ty the quarterback we thought he was? And I'll gladly take your calls. We can debate about it. We could talk about it this morning. But he is out of the Heisman running, as you can see. So that loss yesterday was enough to kick him out. And what did they say about losing late? Don't do it, right? I mean, you lose late. Everybody's watching. And look, I'm curious to see where Alabama does fall in the rankings because, look, you lose one game. Ty Simpson's still on the season. What is it? 22 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. That's why I'm that's still why I'm like kind of getting at that Alabama is judged to a different standard, right? Is I feel that you look right here, look at the results. Ty Simpson, they lose to Oklahoma. There was a pick 6, but he's still 22 touchdowns, 2 interceptions collectively over the year. He's out of the running, okay? So let's see where Alabama is ranked later on today and, of course, in the college football playoff rankings. But Fernando Mendoza playing against Wisconsin, playing, these teams from the Big Ten, you're going to throw a lot of touchdowns. Julian Sain beat up yesterday on UCLA. UCLA and Wisconsin, those are the teams that Ohio State and Indiana are playing. So that's facts. Okay, and to make the actual playoff, and for Alabama, they still have really great odds. And I'll talk about that, and I'll kind of explain, some different scenarios. But according to FanDuel right now, minus 230 to still make the college football playoff. So that is a huge number right there for Alabama. I think, and do you agree with me right here inside the comment box? And good morning to everybody. I know you're probably waking up, you're having coffee, and you're like, all right, what's going on? What's the new direction? And surprise, surprise, I'm going to be optimistic on the show. Because I don't think, sure, are there things to gripe about? Will I gripe about things this morning? Yeah. But I'm also fully aware that the season isn't over, right? I'm also fully aware, I understand who they played. I give Brett Venables a lot of credit. Brett Venables is a great coach, great defensive-minded coach. And he came into Bryant-Denny Stadium and ended the 17-game winning streak. He's beaten Coach Kalen DeBoer not once but twice. He's 2-0 against Coach Kalen DeBoer. They had a great game plan. In fact, their best defensive player didn't even play last night. So you got to give credit where it's due. I started thinking about this. Can you guys add on to this at all? This is where I think the team identity is right now at through 10 games. So a good passing team, yeah. And we threw for 326 last night and a touchdown. It's a good passing team. Ty Simpson does a really great job operating the field. There's always going to be a couple things that kind of make you scratch your head. Did he overthrow a couple wide receivers? For sure. Last night he overthrew Jerry Bernard. I don't like that fourth down call. He threw it. The safety made a good play to stop it. There was a couple other things where he just wasn't accurate, but his efficiency was still high. I mean, it was his highest percentage that he's had within the last 5 games was yesterday, right? So good passing team for sure, right? A lot of weapons that you could work with. Good throw downfield to Isaiah Horton. Josh Cuevas balled out last night, okay? Below average running team. We've discussed this a million times, and we knew, or at least I did as we got closer to kickoff, that there was just no way in hell that A.K. Deere was going to play yesterday. I just was like, nah. The more I think about it, they're not going to put a freshman into block for tie, right? So Daniel Hill, with that said, below average, I do feel that the running game took maybe a baby step forward yesterday, but still, it's like, I mean, they're below average at running for sure. Great defense. Not a good defense, a great defense. This defense is great. And the way that they have played week by week, this team has continued to hold the rope. I get it. They surrendered a touchdown yesterday when John Mateer kind of, on that quarterback keeper. But outside of that, I mean, they are a great defense. They've done a really great job this year. And then the poor kicking game. 11 for 16 is not it. That's just not it. And I have no confidence in the kicking game. It makes me nervous every time Talty and that entire unit goes out there. It's like it's almost to the point where it's like, why don't you think about going for it for like a 4th and 5 or whatever, right? Is there anything else that we can add to this team identity before I move to my next slide? Is there anything else that kind of like jumps out to you in terms of something that you would add to this? Hey, and Lisa, good morning. I appreciate you. Good passing game, below average run, great defense, poor kicking game. Let's see. They got playmakers. I guess we could add to that. Gadgetry, known for gadgetry. I don't know. They play freshmen. Oh, there you go. I love that. Battle tested. I'll add that for sure. I really like that. Let's see battle tested. I like that. They are battle tested. This schedule has been a gauntlet. Okay, perfect. That was great, Jarvis. Thank you. Battle tested, 100%. And I definitely say battle tested because look at the teams that you played in the SEC. Man, you have gone through one hell of a gauntlet of a schedule. Adam points out inside the comment box. Good morning, Adam. What's up, man? I know you're up in New Jersey right now. Says, Kyle, Oklahoma wanted it more. They were hungrier, and it showed. Oklahoma did want that game. I think Oklahoma came in knowing that they were absolutely going to contest Alabama, and they certainly did. 100%. Yeah, they wanted that game. And Oklahoma, as I'll show you, I think they're going to be a team that is kind of on that lower end of the playoffs. A couple points to hit on, and when you guys call in this morning, these are some areas that we can hit on, kind of a roadmap. But if there's anything else that you want to bring to the board or ask me a specific question or bring something up that maybe hasn't been discussed, here's some topics. I've went over a couple of these, but let me hit on a couple more as we start the day. All right, why did Alabama lose? 1,000,000% it was because of the turnovers. I mean, 17 points off turnovers, that'll kill you. I'm surprised that the game was as close as it was. 23-21, right? You're a field goal away from winning the game. Turnovers will kill you. To reiterate, right, you had the pick six. Ryan Williams dropped a fumble, which they scored on. Ty Simpson was hit for the 5th consecutive time he's fumbled, and they kicked the field goal. There's your 17 points, right? A lot of people are talking about this. Has Ty Simpson regressed as a quarterback? I'm saying no. I mean, some of the throws that I continue to see for him still scream out NFL talent. I do feel that they might, I do on Ty Simpson regressing, I do feel that Alabama has been figured out. And for whatever reason, I feel that they haven't allowed Ty to really showcase his running ability. They might have last night. There was one particular play, if you remember. He faked it to Jam Miller, and he took off to the outside. It faked everybody out. Faked me out. Faked the cameraman out. And Ty Simpson picked up, like 9. So he hasn't displayed his dual threat ability, but I do feel that teams have figured out how to play Alabama and how to challenge Alabama and how to challenge Ty Simpson, which is clearly to put pressure on him. I mean, we've known that since the Florida State game, right? Daniel Hill at running back. Let me ask you, did Alabama take a step forward in the run game? I would say yes, a baby step. Is the running game fixed? No. He didn't even rush for over 100 yards again. As a continuing thing, not even from a running back, but from an entire team. Daniel Hill had a nice 28-yard run, and that was like the highlight of one of the highlights of the night. But in terms of him being like a game-changing running back and him like absolutely dominating, he's not there yet in his development. But I do think you took a step forward, and I think we know right now that Daniel Hill has probably got to be the number 1 running back. I do have to point out, Daniel Hill and Jam did surrender a quarterback sack, okay? And does Ty need to get the football out a little bit faster? Yeah. But Daniel Hill surrendered a sack, and so did Jam Miller. Those are facts, okay? So I'm down with Daniel Hill at running back. He made some good catches. He can catch the ball really well. He had, 5, 6 catches last night? And I know going into this week, we'll probably be calling for A.K. Deer to start over Daniel Hill or something like that. I'm sure A.K. Deer will get opportunities against Eastern Illinois, but there was a reason that he didn't play against Oklahoma. And it was because Oklahoma was coming. They pinned their ears back, and they were coming. All right. The kicking game, it's not it. 11 of 16. I've mentioned that. I didn't like the fact that Connor Talty was calling out the holder like that. I haven't seen kind of pointing of the fingers from this team. Right? I mean, I think in terms of like communication, maybe that's something you address kind of on the sideline or something like that. But that showed clear frustration. And to me, you never show people when you're rattled, right? You never show people when things are getting to you. And I think Connor Talty is feeling the absolute pressure. And it tells us that Connor Talty is the best of him and Peter Notaro, and this is the best that we got. So I don't like Talty calling out the holder. Is it on the holder? I don't know. I think it's a collection, but the higher percentage for me goes on the kicker. I mean, the common denominator, all of them are the common denominator, but the guy's 11 of 16. He's missed short stuff. Last night didn't seem like a extremely hard field goal to miss, and he missed it. Critical situation. I was worried and kind of wondering if Alabama was able to get to a shot where they could win the game. Was Connor Talty going to come in and be asked to kick a game winner? Wouldn't that be one hell of a story? We never got to that point. I agree, Adam. He says, Adam inside the comment box says, the snap was a bit high. Yeah, I agree. But the hold looked fine to me. I agree. Okay. The defense. The defense is really good. And they played really well against Oklahoma. I was probably in the camp that John Mateer at the beginning of the season would be maybe one of the top, if not the best quarterback in the SEC. That's how good I thought he was going to be. And I still think he's a good quarterback. But I think Alabama made him look mid. He had some good throws. I like the fact that Oklahoma runs like an RPO and they hit a couple crossing passes. I wish Alabama would kind of add some of that into its schematics, because I think Ty could really, flourish there. Something like an RPO, Daniel Hill pull it out, hit Lazier Brooks across the middle. That seems nice, right? But I think Alabama's defense made John Mateer look average. I thought Alabama's defense, once again, was probably the best part of last night. They came up with the big stop in the beginning of the game when Oklahoma returned that 42-yard punt and was about to punch it in to go 7-0, Alabama's defense holds to make it 3-0, right? So, and I can go through the entire defense and talk about a lot of different guys. They didn't get as much pressure as I'd like to see, but they were also getting the ball. Like John Mateer was getting the ball out quick, and plus Alabama controlled the entire time possession in that game, right? But I think hats off once again to Kane Womack. Was there anybody on defense that stood out to you particularly? Rex brings up a good point. He's like, who was the last team to rush for 100 yards against Bama? Man, that's a good question. Does it date back to, I think as a team, collectively, it might be Georgia. They didn't have like a running back run for 100, but they might have been the closest to it. That's a really good question. But the defense, fantastic. Was there anybody specifically that we need to highlight in terms of like a game ball, someone that stood out, that caught your eye on defense? I know Red Morgan got called for a pass interference. I'm not mad about that. The guy plays aggressive. It was kind of like a collective performance, right, on defense. I'm trying to think of like individual plays. I don't know. All right. On Coach Kalen DeBoer. Oh, thanks, Jarvis. South Carolina rushed for 111. Thank you. On Coach Kalen DeBoer. All right. I'm going to show you a graphic here in a second that shows you kind of best case and worst case. And the worst case, I know, we talk about best case, something plausible, and worst case. And the worst case, believe it or not, I don't think this will happen, but it could happen, okay? Isn't that Murphy's Law, right? Alabama could still go 9-4, which is the exact same record that they had last year, which should scare the crap out of all of us. I don't think it's going to happen, but if they lost to Auburn and then they lost a bowl game, that would be a 9-4 record, okay? So could that happen? Yeah. Will it happen? I don't think so. On Coach Kalen DeBoer, is he the guy for the job? Let me ask you, okay? And I'll put a poll inside the comment box. And good morning to our 88 that are early morning risers. And I will be live again at 1 p.m. Today's a busy day. So let's say Coach Kalen DeBoer's approval rating right now. What would you say it is? Is it, let's see, I'll say 9 to 10. Like, obviously high. 7 to 8, still pretty high, right? 5 to 6, kind of in that mid range, or you're like low. I think we have to understand that this is the reality of college football right now. And what I mean by that is this is NFL light. Look, losing is frustrating. But the trajectory of the program is still really, really solid. And you're 8-2 right now. You lost one game in the SEC, okay? You're recruiting at an extremely high level. You're making progress. I mean, right now it seems like the progress might have slowed a little bit for the team. Oh, but, I mean, you look to other programs. I mean, look, it is a hard conference. It's a tough conference to coach in. But I'm probably in that 7 to 8 range, probably maybe even to 9, because I do feel that like the team, their overall progression has slowed right now. And we don't want to get into the back end of the season and have things slow down. But overall, I mean, man, I think he's continued to have a metamorphosis. I mean, everybody saw how fired up he was last night coming out. He's got that, competitive spirit that continues to ooze out of him more and more. And it looked like he was about to cry during the press conference last night, right? Obviously, he took it really hard. Dan Caraway says somebody needs to on Talty's shoe. What's up, Dan? Good morning to you, bro. And Byron says, Ty is the one with the mental issues. Oh, are you being sarcastic to somebody? Comment box going live this morning. Playoff chances right now. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. And let me ask you inside the comment box, please answer for me, yes or no. Has Alabama peaked? Yes or no? Have they peaked? And I was thinking about this, and somebody asked me, and I still can't fully answer this question. And if they have peaked, they're still a tough team to beat, right? So have they peaked? Man, yeah. If I like literally had to say like yes or no, I say yes. But how far does a team like this peak? How can they still go in the playoffs and win some games? Yeah. I don't know. I kind of look, you guys are saying we might be split on this. But I don't see a lot of kind of progression. I see the same thing with the defense. I see the same thing with the offense. And I kind of see the same thing with the passing game. I don't see like things changing. So I'm going to go with peaked. But it seems like it's like 50-50. Big Matt, what's up, dog? Good to see you, Tyler. Crimson Tide, man. Good to see you. It kind of seems, and, you know, we see, now, there was some gadget plays. You know how I feel about the gadget plays? There was a couple gadget plays that I liked last night. Yo, the fake to Crispy and then to hit Lazier Brooks for that first down, that was nasty. Oh, and I have to ask you. I do have to ask you, fam. Was that play when Ty Simpson fell and Jam Miller fell? That was a gadget play, right? I guess the TV broadcast said that it was like a fake play. I fell for it. I was like, how the hell are they both on? I was looking at the turf. I was like, are they playing on, is the grass wet? But that was a gadget play, right? Okay, so you guys say for the approval rating, 7 to 8, okay? And now I'm going to ask you inside the comment box, because I've been asked by our stats guy, Jarvis, to run a poll on has Alabama peaked? All right, I'll leave this one up for a little bit. All right, has Alabama peaked? Yes or no? Get inside the comment box. I'm saying yes. Don't let that influence your answer. I'm just saying, like, offense is kind of stayed the same. Running game stayed the same a little bit. Defense continues to be the bright spot. We're still having kicking issues. Like, what is really, like, drastically, showing signs that they're getting better? I'm not being negative. I'm just, that's the truth. Still a hard team to beat. All right. So now we get into playoff chances. And I'll take your calls here in just a minute, okay? And again, I'll be live again at 1 p.m. For the AP Top 25 playoff rankings. So right now what we have is we have Texas A&M at the top spot with an undefeated record, followed by Georgia, Ole Miss, and Bama. Now, the area that you have to stay in right here is the conference record. I'm fully aware that Oklahoma beat Alabama, but Oklahoma has lost 2 conference games. Alabama has just lost 1. I think that's surprising to people. I think people feel that conference play goes off the overall or something. I don't know, but it's really conference. So out of these teams right here, right, Georgia has played more conference games, 8, right? They're done with their conference schedule. Well, who did Alabama beat? Did Alabama play Ole Miss? No. Did Alabama beat Georgia? Play Georgia? Yes. And what was the result? Alabama won. Okay. So if Alabama beats Auburn, they finish 7-1. Georgia 7-1. Well, head-to-head goes to Alabama. Well, what about Ole Miss, Kyle? If they win their next conference game, they'll finish 7-1 as well. Well, yeah, but the common opponent is Georgia. How did they fare against Georgia? Georgia beat Ole Miss, and Alabama beat Georgia. So if A&M beats Texas and Alabama beats Auburn, Alabama and A&M will play in the SEC title. Now, if Texas A&M loses to Texas and Alabama beats Georgia, or Alabama beats Auburn, it is Georgia and Alabama in the SEC title. So look, you got to beat Auburn, plain and simple. Here it is on paper. I have a video that kind of explains this as well. If Alabama beats Auburn, if Texas A&M beats Texas, just what I said. It's Alabama and A&M or Alabama and Georgia. But the common denominator in this is Alabama beating Auburn. And by the way, the poll right now, out of 34 votes, let's try to get it up to 100. Has Alabama peaked so far? 65% of you say no. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Have they peaked? Okay. So 63 say no. Nicholas, what's up, man? Good morning. Nicholas says this inside the comment box. Good morning, bro. I like that guitar. We're not playing up to the standard that Nick Saban made for us all these years ago. Like, come on, this is ridiculous. And we lose to Auburn, which we better not. I had enough of this 9-3 stuff. You know what? Thanks for the comments, Nicholas. That is kind of like the worst case scenario, and I'll show that right now. It would be devastating if you fall into this worst case scenario. So what I have right here is best case, worst case, and maybe something that might be plausible. Okay. So like Nicholas said, if Alabama was to miss the playoffs, and we'll start with the worst case over here. Worst case, you beat Eastern Illinois, you lose to Auburn, you miss the playoffs again, second year in a row, right? You lose the bowl game, whoever they play, I don't know, whoever they play, guys are checked out, you lose that game. You finish, this would be crazy. The craziest thing after all this momentum and kind of progression that we've made, Alabama could theoretically finish out 9-4. I think that's the worst case scenario, which would be beyond frustrating considering we felt like we've made a significant amount of progress in year 2 under Coach Kalen DeBoer. I think that would probably take down his approval rating significantly. I really do. Because as I said, you see he's kind of in that 8-9 range. But I feel if the worst case is to happen, people are going to be pissed because it's about, you got to make the playoffs. You got to at least make the playoffs. That's kind of like baseline right now for job security. And I know, look, there's a lot of these teams, and Eli Drinkwitz says recently that that's not fair because we're only judging teams off playoff metrics. Yeah, that's exactly how it works right now. Make the playoffs, and that's the standard, okay? Like, that's rather the baseline is to make the playoffs. You don't make the playoffs, we're going to find somebody that will get Alabama back to the playoffs, I promise you, okay? What could be plausible is they beat Eastern Illinois, they beat Auburn, and they punch their ticket to the SEC title. Let's say they play Texas A&M, right? Texas A&M beats Alabama. So Alabama is sitting at 10-3, right? And it would be up to the committee to take Alabama if they take a 3-loss team that made it to the SEC championship game. And that would be crazy to see that scenario play out because you have a lot of teams that will be 2-loss teams that played in weaker conferences, but Alabama has more loss in those teams, right? Let's say Alabama makes it. They're on the first round. They're either hosting or they're traveling to, I don't know. They're playing Oregon in Eugene. Seriously, it could happen in this plausible situation. You win that game, and then, you win your quarterfinal game, and you lose in the semis, and you finish out 12-4. Okay, fine. Made progress. You're able to beat Auburn. You're able to get to the title game. You're able to get to the playoffs and have a couple playoff victories. Love it, right? Now, the best case scenario, which, that's a lot of wins, but Alabama just strung together 8 wins, okay? You beat Eastern Illinois. You beat Auburn. You win the SEC title. You win the quarters. You win the semis, right? And you win the title. And you finish out 14-2. So those are some, scenarios that could certainly happen. As you could see, there's a lot of football left to be played, but the game that it comes down to is this one at the Haunted Barn. So, as you know, the game at Auburn, it's crazy. And I'll show you a graphic that kind of illustrates the last couple games at the Barn. All of them are super tight. I just threw together some college football rankings this morning based off where the teams were and what happened yesterday. So maybe I can move Alabama up here ahead of Notre Dame, but it seems like the committee – I'm trying to think like the committee. It seems like the committee is absolutely in love with everything that Notre Dame does. So I have it Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Georgia, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Oregon, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Bama, Georgia Tech, and North Texas. Now, you have to have a team from the ACC, really all the Big Four conferences, and you have to have a team from the group of five, the highest ranked, which would, I think, be North Texas or James Madison. The other teams that are kind of outside, BYU and Miami. Now, Miami, in the last playoff bracket, they were in, although they're not even number one in the ACC. The number one team in the ACC is Georgia Tech, okay? So what I was thinking about, and this was kind of scaring me, is some far-out scenarios, right? If Alabama finishes 10-3 and loses in the SEC title, right, and Notre Dame finishes 10-2 without a conference title, what if those are some of the remaining teams to try to, like, who gets the last spot? The other team that I'm scared about, yeah, Adam is saying North Texas. I know. You have to take the highest-ranked group of five. It's either them or James Madison because South Florida lost again. How about this one? This is the one that really scares me. BYU finishes 11-2, losing to Texas Tech in the Big 12 title game, where you're like, well, they lost 2 times. Yeah, they lost 2 times to Texas Tech, who is a top 5 team. What losses are worse, Alabama's 3 losses or BYU losing twice to Texas Tech? I think they might give BYU the edge, similar to what happened with SMU over Bama, right? Ty says, bro, they're not going to lose another game. Yeah, maybe not, man. I hope they don't, honestly, because it impacts the whole operation greatly. And I'll ask you guys in a little while your confidence about beating Auburn. So Ty is saying that Alabama wins the championship. Okay, we'll put you down. Miami finishes 10-2, right, without finishing in the conference game. What happens to Miami? Because right now Miami is still inside the college football playoff bracket, all right? So the game at Auburn, and my next poll will be your confidence level in beating Auburn. As you can see right here, these are facts. I'm not making this up. The last game at Auburn and at Bryant-Denny Stadium have been completely different, right? So in Tuscaloosa, Alabama always takes care of Auburn like it's light work, right? Last year was 28-14. But when it's at the barn, the games have been crazy lately. 27-24, right, in 2023. In 2021, it was 24-22. In 2019, it was 48-45 with Auburn winning. And then in 2017, Auburn won 26-14. So let me ask you, so our last poll was, has Alabama peaked? You guys said no. And we will do another poll right now. And I will ask you your confidence level. Confidence level in Alabama beating Auburn in the Haunted Barn. High, mid, low. All right, please vote in the poll. It just feels that, games over there, from a historical standpoint, like even listening to Coach Saban, he's like, those particular games are challenging to win on the road at the Haunted Barn. And so far, the early votes are, out of 19 votes, 32% have a high confidence, 48% mid, and 19% low. And so those votes, I think they certainly are going to have a bounce back game against Eastern Illinois. And remember how much momentum Louisiana Monroe gave Alabama, right? I would imagine that they probably score 80 points against Eastern Illinois. It will be something very similar to Louisiana Monroe, which could be very positive for that momentum psyche going into that rivalry game. It's just like, it seems like all bets are off when you go to the barn. Have we seen any early models, Jarvis, of that score, the line between Alabama and Auburn? I would imagine, let's see. Let's guess the line between Alabama and Auburn. I'll go 6.5 Bama. Right? 6.5 Bama. All right, the call-in line is open. 205 850-1994. And we start with Chris from New Jersey. Chris, what's up, man?
Happy Sunday, brother.
Happy Sunday.
Listen, you and I, for the first time in a long time, disagree. We haven't even close to peak. It's not even close. Now, you and I can, and we agonize this. We peaked in the first half last year against Georgia. That is facts. After that, the season was like a ski slope, and literally a ski slope. I think we're going to smoke at Auburn. I don't talk this way, Kyle. So I think we know that we're fighting for everything. I think we're going to go into that haunted whatever, and I think we're going to beat them up. We're going to bully them. And so, Kyle, the one thing that I think we're all forgetting is Oklahoma didn't beat us last night. We beat ourselves. 3 turnovers. They didn't. That's a good football team. We lost by. Did you watch Texas and Georgia?
Yes.
That was a beatdown.
Yeah.
We didn't lose like that. So, but Kyle, the one thing that I'm real disappointed in is what happened to the hot hand with running backs. We've kept. I know it was Saban. I know you. So I know that would probably be your answer. But Kyle, when we used to keep like Najee off the field, we used to keep Josh Jacobs off the field. But whoever had the hot hand, got the rock.
Yeah.
And let's face it, Daniel Hill was doing great. I was so happy. He had like a 28-yard run. And we bullied him right into the. We did the direct snap to him on the goal line, and we bullied them like by 5 yards right into the. And that's a good front from Oklahoma. We bullied them 5 yards into the end zone. So we got away from what was getting us here. So I'd like to see when you're right. I saw him. He did give up a sack basically, and so did Jam. But by the way, Ty. He's got to get the ball out quicker, so this is where I'm thinking. I'm thinking we're going to have a confidence game next week. We all know it's going to be a blowout. Hopefully, we'll get some people in this game like A.K. Deer and maybe Quay's foot's going to be much better, so he gets back in. And I think we go into Auburn with a good game plan. I'll say this. I give Grubb last night like a C+, C-, a C. It's not a B. Although I agree that fake to Caden Proctor and to Brooks, that was a nice play.
Yeah, I love that.
Pick up that.
Yeah, I loved it.
So listen, I think we got to be a little more positive than and this is coming from me, who's not only a nervous Nelly most of the time. I'm like sometimes I'm super negative, and but. I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win out. I think we're going to go to Auburn. I'm going to call you. I'm going to be on record. We talk multiple times a week, brother. I'm going to call you. Right on the make sure I'm the peewee of after the Auburn game. I'm going to be like, Kyle, I told you. We're going to blow Auburn out. We're going to bully them. We're going to go to Auburn. We're going to that stadium in the fourth quarter. Look, watch. It'll be empty. We're going to empty that stadium out. And did you guys? I don't know if anybody saw the Pitt Notre Dame game yesterday. In the third quarter, the stadium was that stadium was packed. They were like they thought it was like Tony Dorsett. I loved Tony Dorsett when I was a kid, by the way. And by the third quarter, the stadium was empty. We're going to empty Auburn out, and remember they said that the college football playoff committee said losing a championship conference championship game should not hurt your ability to get into the playoffs. So I think we win out. There's a good chance we win. We beat either if we get into the championship game, we win. That A&M team got exposed yesterday. They got exposed yesterday. Now they had a great comeback, but they still got exposed. So we're getting in. We're getting in this year. I'm not going to be a negative Nelly like usual. We are getting in. I am not delusional, Byron. I am not delusional. And so let's remind Byron when we blow out Auburn. Byron, we're going to blow out Auburn. You hear me? Blow out Auburn. All right, that's enough for my ranting. It's Happy Sunday. Let's go back to Positive Town. Listen, and you're doing a great job, Kyle. So whatever you switch the channel to, we're all staying. I think you should get a show on ESPN, brother. So, all right, listen, have a wonderful Sunday. My best to you. My best to the undefeated. The undefeated. All you haters in there, blah. We'll talk this week, brother.
All right, man. Take it easy. All right, that's Chris from New Jersey, 470, and looks like Angel from Pigeon Forge calling up in just a second. Jarvis with the 10 spot, which I appreciate, but I want to go back to Kimberly's post inside the comment box. She saw maybe like 7.5 for this game against Auburn, and I agree with this. Like, I felt so Alabama had 95 yards to work with. And what was there, 8 minutes left? We have to go back on the tape and see. There might have been 7 minutes or whatever. I felt at that point that Alabama would have at least 2 possessions to maybe get a score, and maybe 2 scores. I felt the way that they managed those 7-8 minutes, whatever it was, I didn't like that. I felt like we were basically setting ourselves up to put Talty at the line, right, with 2 seconds left to hit the game winner. I didn't like how they operated that. And then Jarvis with the 10 spot says Auburn's quarterback threw for 353 and 2 touchdowns and ran for 89 and 2 more touchdowns like Vandy. Dude is legit. It's going to be tough for us at the barn. He's built like Cam Newton, in my opinion. Oh, my goodness. That's terrifying. Okay, 470. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Come with it.
What's up, Kyle? It's Chance.
Chance, what's up, man? Good morning to you, man. It's been a minute, man. Chance calling from Georgia, right?
Yes, sir.
What's up, man? Welcome to the show. Come with it.
Well, I understand everybody's emotional. I was too. It's heartbreaking. No one's ever happy when you lose. Especially the way we lost when we gifted them that. Oklahoma didn't do nothing on offense except keep themselves in the game. I mean, I don't even think they scored in the second half other than a field goal. That was it. So, I mean, I felt like the field goal was what kept us from winning the game. Had we made that field goal, it would have been them that would have had to drive down the field to try to win. Yeah. And I just don't see Mateer doing that. So I think a lot of our fan bases needs to just relax. I mean, we can nitpick everything, but, we could be in the shape of like an Auburn, an LSU, or Arkansas, or Florida, or soon to be Ole Miss, who knows? I mean, we don't even need to go there. Kalen DeBoer's a good coach, and they're stacking recruiting classes. We're getting all the guys he wants, we're doing great. I mean, and our everything we want is right in front of us. All we got to do is just take care of business. And I know that's easier said than done. All the voodoo that's down there on the plains, that's always hard. If it was at home, it would be easier to pick. But being that it's at Auburn, it's going to be a little sketchy. But I feel like this team can win. They proved it. They responded well. After Florida State, what happened? We responded well. We went on a run. So, I mean, it was a matter of time. You just didn't know when it was going to happen, but you knew it was going to come. I wish it wouldn't have, and I wish people would kind of settle down on Ty. He's been clutch for us all season. He's been second in the Heisman's, in some places the first pick. So to any of our fan bases who's freaking out, just let me talk you back off the ledge and just calm down because, the season's not over. Everything we want is right in front of us. And we've proven one thing this season is that we respond well and that we can respond good and we can win a game and we can come back. And there's fight in this team. And I think that pressure after the game last night was Kalen DeBoer's best pressure ever. You could see it all over him. Like, he was emotional. Yeah. He was pissed. Yeah. He was amped up. Like, you could tell that he wasn't like that last season. Last season, he was like on an island, and he's just completely culture shocked, shell shocked. Like, he's coming into his own. And I don't think everybody needs to, go out on him just yet. we're all right. I think we're going to be okay, and I think everybody should just calm down a little bit.
Yo.
But that's my opinion.
All right, thanks for the call, Chance. I appreciate it, man. Good to hear from you, bro.
Yeah, you too, brother. Roll Tide.
All right, man. Take it easy. Roll Tide to you. All right, Angel up next right here. Call line is open, 205-850-1994. You know what? I try to verbalize this the best that I can. It is like Chance is saying, more of an optimistic call. We're having some of our – these are Pete, you know what? What I found out in my 41 years of life is I'm a morning person, and I found that people are in a way better mood in the mornings. Like if you're a morning person, you ever been to like the grocery store, like the morning? Oh, everybody's so nice. Even in like the airport, people are nicer. You later in the day, man, it's a different story. So we're kind of having some of our positive Nellies call in, which I appreciate. And I was thinking about this is like this day and age of college football. It's just we still are doing like this metamorphosis from the old days where we just took everybody to the woodshed under Nick Saban because those teams were trash. And now that there's NIL, there's transfer portal, there's better coaching, it has equalized a little bit. That's why still even being 8-2 is like I think we still get stuck in like 2012, 2013 mindset. We're like 8-2 isn't it? We got to beat everybody 10-0. If we're not winning by 21 points, this team sucks. No, watch the NFL. Understand that it's any given Sunday, except it's on Saturday. Seriously, the teams are that good. Oklahoma is a good football team. I will say that Alabama, if they played them again, I'd take Alabama for sure. But this is any given Saturday. The teams are just that good, and we have to understand that this is going to be a reality. Trivia question. Who won the national title last year? And how many games did they lose? That's your trivia. Angel, come with it.
What's up, Kyle?
What's up, bro? Good morning to you, bro. Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, well, I couldn't sleep last night. This is all I thought about last night was, the loss and the possibilities, the scenarios. But I think something's brewing right now, and I'm not sure if you know, but that team last year, they won it with 2 losses, and they woke up, and they went on an absolute run. And I won't say the name of that team because you already know the answer, and I know the answer. And I feel like this is that vibe that we're getting right now. Because look, we're like a corner hour right now, back, in a corner. And that's when we're most dangerous because, we've seen it. But honestly, A&M, I watched their game last year, or this year actually. It was actually yesterday, I believe. Yeah, they were down by 30 against, South Carolina, which is, it's people think, well, it's not impressive. Well, I mean, it really isn't, but at the same time, that could be a potential playoff team. And, they really came back and, I mean, honestly, I think Bama does beat A&M because, that defense was a little, Swiss cheese yesterday for a little bit, most of the game. I think Bama could do the exact same thing. But also Auburn, yeah, that game is going to be a wild game because we saw it the last couple of years. And I know it's in Auburn this year, but you think our chances will be a lot higher if, we played the game plan, especially pass the ball a lot better in that game. And of course, our defense steps up. What's your thoughts on, if Bama can hold them up defensively and, and just, bring the woodshed to the Auburn? But I know that's a long debate. But I really think they can beat Auburn by more than 2 scores. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean,
before I bounce out.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how many points you win, as you know, Angel. It's just like I think you go over to that. I think the number one thing that Alabama does is you flush this loss out, right? You got to have a next game mentality, and that Auburn game comes at. Unfortunately, that's kind of like the ticket to get into the playoffs in my mind. But you have to take care of Eastern Illinois. And this is an interesting matchup because you go into this game, you're favored by it probably won't even be on the books, right? But you have to stay healthy in this game. You have to keep the right mindset in this game. And you have to, number one, flush. And you need momentum. So you flush it out today. You get back to business and you're like, look, all right, our pyramid says we can still reach all our goals. What's on our goal sheet? Reaching the SEC title. Can we still do that? Yes. Who is the next opponent in front of us? How do we want to win 10 games this season? So they have a pyramid, and all of their goals are still achievable. So I feel that you flush it out.
There.
Yeah, but you have to flush this out. And today is kind of like the remainder of the funeral, right? Up until like 1 p.m. And then you're like, all right, man, let's tune in. And you take care of Eastern Illinois. You get a lot of momentum for that game. And you get ready for Auburn. And look, the Auburn game will be challenging 1,000,000%. I mean, as you could see inside the comment box, I asked the fans, and we have 86 votes. It says people are confident, 50%. But I think a lot of people also understand it's Auburn. Who the hell knows? So flush it out. Get back to business. Don't read the Heisman. Don't read any of that stuff. Focus on and take care of these 2 next games. Angel, I appreciate you calling in, man. Go ahead. Go ahead if you have one more.
Yeah, roll top, man.
Yeah, all right. Take it easy.
Yeah, well, yeah, good day, man.
All right. Angel calling in. All right. Call line is open if you want to chime in. 205-850-1994. I will be live again at 1 p.m. Central Time when the rankings come out. So I think the coaches poll drops at like 12, and then the AP comes out at 1. And I have been coming live on Sunday at that time, and I know that those rankings don't affect like the playoff rankings, but I do feel that it gives us kind of a snapshot. And I am curious to see how far Alabama does fall in the rankings. The last time they lost, well, it was to an unranked team. They fell like 14 spots. That won't be the case today. Where do you think, let me ask you this inside the comment box. Where do you feel that Alabama will be ranked in the AP rankings? So let's say 8 to 9, 10 to 11, 11 to 13, 11 to 15, I'll say, just to put it out there. All right, go ahead and vote inside the comment box. Where will Alabama be ranked in the AP or coaches poll? Either way you want to look at it. Yeah, right. That 10. I mean, let's see. I probably have them like 10 or 11, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. All right, 251. Hey, thanks for calling in. You're online with Kyle Anderson. Yeah, who am I online with, and where are you calling in from?
Let's go. This is Kevin in Mobile, man. Unfortunately, I only call after we lose football games, so it ain't that often that I call. But when I do, it's pretty volatile, I guess you could say. I'm going to try not to be volatile this morning. When I saw DeBoer smacking the goalpost pad at the beginning of the game, I kind of thought, man, this is not good, because if he's having to do all that to get our team motivated to win, then, we're not in good shape. We are Lane Kiffin offense light, right? Like Grubb is like Lane Kiffin's distant uncle. They have like the same kind of philosophy. There's absolutely no running the football no more, and a lot of Ryan Grubb's plays takes a long time to develop. There's no quick slants, get the ball in your hand, a second later get it out. There ain't none of that, And unfortunately on defense, we're just not very good at tackling. We've been playing really well on defense the last couple of weeks, but this week it just didn't happen, did it? It's because these guys are able to run the ball because we can't tackle. So the bottom line is, DeBoer started out on third base, okay? So you can't compare stuff to the previous coach. The previous coach, second year, was starting from where he started from. DeBoer started on third base. The bottom line is, man, we got 6 losses in the last 2 years so far. With that football team I saw, that offense I saw, I don't think we can beat Auburn. I mean, do you? With their defense, you think Auburn's defense is as good as Oklahoma's?
No, but I think that their defense is not that far behind. Oklahoma's defense is really good, and I think Auburn's defense is good, and I think DJ Durkin is a defensive-minded coach. And the only game, Kevin, that I usually am nervous for is that game, because in that game when it's over there, because I've seen that game. The last 10, 11 years that I've covered the team, the only game that you just have the only thing that we know for sure in that game is that Auburn will play its best game of the year. Remember Bo Nix? Bo Nix at Auburn was terrible. When he went to when he went to Oregon is a different story, and I have him on my NFL fantasy football team, and he does pretty well. But that game that he played against Alabama, he looked like the best quarterback to ever play the game.
Well, the thing I noticed last night with the defense also was we played a 3-man front all night. Mm. We didn't get any penetration on that quarterback all night. We played a 3-man front, and 3 guys went against their linemen all night. That's what I saw. The one time that we did get a sack that I do recall, we stunned it. We stunned it like we was going to blitz more than have more on the line than 3 guys, and we stunned it out of that. And the bottom line is, man, we just didn't play very well last night. Apparently, Oklahoma has our number, and I think they have our number because they play a hard-nosed football.
Yep.
And
yep.
we're out here playing Lane Kiffin light, I mean, yeah, man, it's pretty. It gets a lot of points and whatnot. It's flashy. The recruits like it. But I like winning football games. I don't care about throwing for 500 yards a game and all that crap. I just want to win some football games. And, that South Carolina was a really good team. They're really, really big, and we barely beat them. And you see what happens when we play somebody that's got some defense and who can run the football a little bit. So, but anyway, man, I'll let you get back to your other calls and roll tide, everybody. Hopefully we'll win out. And I think they're going to try to keep us out of the playoffs. That's just me.
Bama,
we better win out.
Bama fatigue certainly exists, man. I appreciate the call, Kevin. Thanks, bro.
All right, bud. Thanks.
All right, 201. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Come with it.
Hey, Kyle, it's Adam. I'm calling from New Jersey. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Adam? I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So basically, and I'll keep it brief, your prior caller, talking about DeBoer slamming the goalpost, that to me suggested he was frustrated with his team and nervous that we were going to lose. And sure enough, in this game, we played not to lose. We didn't play nearly with the aggressiveness that Oklahoma did, and it showed. And the second thing is, the little things that we typically do right, we didn't do. The missed field goal was 36 yards, and you got the field goal kicker yelling at the placeholder instead of taking responsibility for the fact that you missed the kick that you should have made 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
And the last thing is, I don't think the problem is Ty Simpson. I think the problem is that we've become one-dimensional, and teams like Oklahoma with a coach like Venables are going to scheme in a way that limits the ability of our offense to be productive. So my question for you is, if you were the coach right now, head coach of Alabama, what would your message be to this team to get their mindset right?
Flush it. Understand that, there's a lot of football still left, that this is, there was opportunities in that game, and they were self-inflicted wounds. While this team isn't perfect, they should have won that game, but the self-inflicted wounds is the difference in that game. So you got to flush it, and you have to understand that it's still a one-game season. We've been saying that all along, and I know you probably get tired of hearing about that, but 100% it is. It's a one-game season. You lose against Eastern Illinois, you're done. You lose against Auburn, you're done. You win Eastern Illinois, still alive. You beat Auburn, you're still alive. So it's a one-game season. So flush it. That was on us. Self-inflicted wounds. Get back to it. Still football to play.
Absolutely. And, what I want to see in the next 2 games is I want to see the team with the kind of mindset that they had under Nick Saban. I think DeBoer's a great coach, but I think we need to get back that aggressive mindset and not play, not to lose. Thanks, Kyle. As always, great show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, take it easy, man. All right, 251. Hey, thanks for calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Yeah, who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
This is Tommy from Beaumont, Texas.
Hey, I missed your first name. What was it?
Tommy.
Tommy, what's up?
Texas, by way of Mobile, Alabama.
Oh, awesome, man. All right, appreciate it, man. Tommy coming in by way of Mobile. Where'd you say you were in Texas?
Beaumont.
All right, Beaumont, man. Come with it. Good high school football over there. Come with it.
Yeah, it is. So 2 things, Kyle. Number one, social media yesterday and all the talk about Alabama, having better stats in the game but losing. Stats don't make games. In football, especially close games, it's usually 4 to 6 plays in a game that decide the outcome of the game. Any coach will tell you that. And Alabama lost just about all the crucial, pivotal moments of that game. So, I get it. The score was close. Alabama had a lot of yards, time of possession, all that stuff's great. But in the end, it's all about winning. And, hopefully they can rectify that ship and be able to put something together for these next 2 games. I think Oklahoma blitzed 50% of their plays in the second half, which is crazy. Alabama should have been able to pick up more of those blitz and actually take advantage of some of those one-on-ones, and they just weren't able to do it. So, kudos to Oklahoma. They came in, they played well, Alabama still controls their destiny. You got 2 games you got to win to put you into the SEC championship unless some crazy math happens. So let's focus on the next game and then the next game. And last thing, and I'll let you go, little light note. I don't know if everybody saw it, but Florida State's now 5-5. So one more game, and they're in the Duke's Mayonnaise Bowl with a winning record. That helps Alabama. So, that pads that resume a little bit. So, just trying to keep it a little light this morning, man.
Appreciate it, Tommy. Thanks for the call, man. All right, Tommy.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you too, man. Roll Tide. Tommy calling in from Beaumont. We got a 228. Hey, thanks for calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Anderson. Who am on the line with? Where you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle. This is Alex from Ocean Springs, Mississippi.
Alex, what's up, man? I appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Long-time listener, first-time caller, but just wanted to ask your opinion on. I listened to your show yesterday after the game, and you were kind of breaking down the plausible if Alabama goes to the SEC championship and loses to either Texas A&M or Georgia. What you actually think is going to happen next after that. And then I did want to point out another thing. I was sorry, I'm in the gym. I was on the fence about Kalen DeBoer coming into the year after we lost to Florida State, probably like everybody else. But the caller earlier that said he started off on third base, I don't really think that's the case because when Nick Saban retired, we lost a lot of recruits. A lot of people left. I think Kalen DeBoer probably came into a similar situation as maybe Brian Kelly at LSU. So I don't think LSU has any problems recruiting, and I think Kalen DeBoer's kind of saved a spot for the next year or so at least. So just wanted to throw that out there too.
Yeah. So Alex, so first of all, Ocean Springs, right? That's a home of Bray Hubbard, right?
Yes, absolutely. He actually is a kid that we know pretty well. So
yeah, I love that dude. Yo,
hell of a player.
And hell of a
because the New Orleans Saints.
And hell of a person too. You know what I'm saying? Like understanding what he went through when he lost his mom, and how that guy just battles and carries on. And I think he's one of the staple players on the defense, 100%. I mean, I have a lot of respect for that.
Great family, 100%.
Yeah, and just a country boy, and just like I love that kid. I love Bray Hubbard. Yeah. So were you asking about like scenarios if Alabama was to play Georgia or Texas A&M in the first part of your question?
Bama goes to the SEC championship. I think we'll handle business in Auburn just the way that what we've seen after the Florida State loss and all that good stuff. I think we'll continue to do that. But we go to the SEC championship. How many times in a row can you beat Georgia? We lose to Georgia, or we lose to a hot Texas A&M team. What do you think happens next as a 3-loss team?
Yeah, that's really difficult to think about, because here's the teams that it kind of comes down to is, let's say that Alabama loses that game. They would have 3 losses, right? Unranked Florida State, you lose to Oklahoma, a playoff team, and you lose to, let's say, a top 5 type team, A&M or Georgia, whatever it is. is Alabama penalized for losing that championship game, and is BYU rewarded for losing their game? And the way I'm asking that is because if BYU, let's say, gets to the Big 12 championship game and they lose to Texas Tech, that will be their only losses on the season would be to a top 5 Texas Tech team. And the playoff committee loves Texas Tech. So, they'll be like, hey, those weren't bad losses. Alabama lost to an unranked team. They show more instability. They lost at the beginning of the season. They lost at the end of the season. I wouldn't be surprised if it's another 3-letter team that gets into the playoffs over Alabama, right? SMU is basically the same thing last year, right? And so I think that's a team that you watch. Miami, I think Alabama would be in over Miami. I don't think they have a strong enough resume. But BYU got up to like 7 or whatever recently, so I think they really like them. I do feel, though, that the one thing that would help if Alabama got into the SEC championship is the playoff committee hopefully understands that is the toughest conference in the nation. And if Alabama was able to just lose one game in conference play, get to the title game, I think that says a lot. I mean, the SEC, come on, you can't compare it to the Big 12 or the ACC or, any of the – I mean, Big 12, Big 10, of course, has won the last 2 championships. But collectively, we all know that the SEC is an absolute meat grinder. Anything else, Alex?
No, that's it, man. I think you broke down pretty good. I'm with you, though. I think that Alabama fatigue is real, and a 3-loss team is going to be hard to get in there, even if it is Alabama. And teams like Notre Dame and BYU would benefit from that. So,
all right, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, take it easy. All right, Alex calling in from Ocean Springs, 917. Hey, thanks for calling in. Good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Go ahead.
How's it going? Can you?
Yeah, I'm here, man. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
I didn't know if you could hear.
You're good.
It's Connor from Muscle Shoals. Just because my name is Connor, I'm gonna say this because Connor told you missed the field goal. I've been done with him for a bit now, and I forget which game where he like completely shanked one. And the people I watch the games with, I tell them it's only a matter of time before he's gonna cost us a game. And I think last night that's what happened. Granted, there was a bunch of other stuff that went on, but so I just wanted to. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, but we need a kicker, and it's a big deal that gets, overlooked because the kickers don't tend to matter as much. But and then I don't know what's up with Jam Miller, but all that stutter step stuff, just standing there do with his feet, I don't get it. And I noticed Bernard does it a lot, which is a little different as a receiver, but I don't know what's up with him, and I just want to get your thoughts on Miller and the backs. And I also feel like they went away from Richard Young really quickly, which I noticed he missed some blocking for Ty Simpson, so that's probably got a lot to do with it. But I just want to get your thoughts on the backs a little bit. And I tuned in a little late, so I might have missed some stuff, so I apologize.
Yeah, I'm with Connor from Muscle Shoals. Yo, you know what? I've been diving in, before we get going, I've been diving into Muscle Shoals and kind of the history of the music scene there. It's incredible to me still, all the artists that recorded at Muscle Shoals. Everybody. Right? I mean, from Aretha Franklin to Elton John to the Rolling Stones, Leonard Skinner. I mean, it blows my mind. Like, this is the only place in the world, right? We're talking about some of the best music in the world out of Muscle Shoals. Just amazing to me. I'm actually kind of...
even the father of blues, W.C. Handy, he's born there. So, like, 2 separate kind of things, both in that such small area where nothing is really. It's pretty amazing. I know,
because I went up there not too long ago, and I was like, really? They're like, this spot? Now, I do like how the Tennessee River flows through, and Florence is also really pretty. But anyways, Connor Talty, definitely struggle bus. I said at the beginning of the show, I didn't like how he called out. We rarely see players pointing out like each other. I didn't like how he was calling out the snapper. You handle that, elsewhere. You talk to your special teams coach. The players aren't above each other. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't like that show, because you never want to see anybody show that you're rattled, and that screams a ton of frustration. And that's something that I'm poking at if I'm the opposition. The other thing is Alabama. That wasn't Alabama's only special teams blunder. They allowed a 42-yard punt return, which is uncharacteristic, and that only allowed 3 points, thankfully, because the defense showed up. And then also you just all of a sudden put Ryan Williams back there when Cole Adams hasn't done anything, and he comes up with the fumble.
That's another guy I'm really curious about. What is Cole? I don't know what he does other than fair catch the ball, and that's it. And why is he out there? I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Cole Adams, it's kind of more of like just a high insurance, right? You know that he's not going to make a mistake. I don't how many punt returns does he have this year? Maybe like 20, and no fumbles. He's not the flashiest guy, but I think in terms of just somebody that can secure the football, I think they put Ryan back there maybe because they felt, and they do feel he's a playmaker. They gave him another opportunity late. He fumbled. People don't remember drops, and people don't forget dropped passes, and people don't forget fumbles. And now the guy's done 2 of them, so he's gonna have to navigate through that, like the rest of the things that's been going on with him this season. But that guy, I'm telling you, he has the best PR manager in the world, because we are always talking about Ryan Williams, and even when we're down on him, well, they're like, guess what? He's probable. So you still got to talk about him, man. You're like, oh my God, he's probable. Yo, they keep him in the front page.
At this point, I honestly like Brooks a lot more than Williams.
Yo, well, Lazier Brooks, man, that kind of reverse or the fake that they had to him, man. And the thing about Lazier Brooks, yo, fam, listen up, eyes up. Lazier Brooks, look, he's not the biggest man. I don't even think he's 200 pounds. Try taking him down. That dude is a menace. Seriously, he's like a honey badger. You can't take him down. I'm telling you, man. He's pissed off, man. Connor, thanks for the call, bro. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Roll Tide.
Yeah, Roll Tide too, man. I didn't get to Connor. Connor also asked about the running back situation. We've gone over, the running back, a bunch of different times. And last night we provided kind of an idea on what we saw from Daniel Hill and talked about Jam Miller. I know a lot of people talking about Jam this morning and Daniel Hill and wondering about A.K. Deere and Richard Young. Here's the situation with the running back position right now. Daniel Hill has emerged as a starter. Thought he had a really good performance. Not like an exceptional, but I think he took a step forward last night. He had the big 28-yard gain. He's kind of emerged as that running back number 1. Jam Miller and Daniel Hill, they each allowed a sack. That is facts, right? Those are where those guys are. And then they've completely went away from Riley. They completely went away from Richard Young. He don't even play anymore. And A.K. Deere, we all waited for him like Linus in the pumpkin patch, and he never came out. So that's kind of, the running back situation, and where do we go, forward? I would imagine that these guys get more opportunities against Eastern Illinois or whatever. So I guess we'll just have to see. But that's kind of how the running back room shakes out. So if you guys, I think this might be a good stopping point right here, and then I'll be live again at 1 p.m. Central Time when the rankings come out. So coming up, you got the coaches poll drops at 12, and then the AP at 1, and then I'll be live at 1, and we'll kind of reassess kind of from a national outlook. That show will be a little bit more national in terms of talking college football rankings. So yeah, Jarvis is like, Richard who? Yeah, I know, 100%. So we'll see where Alabama is. You guys have voted that Alabama should be 8-9, 47% of you, or 10-11, 34%. I think they'll probably be in that 10-11 range. So we'll see how it goes. But thanks for watching this morning. I know there's a lot to go over, and I think you kind of let me leave you with this before I bounce out. I think I'll leave you with this graphic. I do feel that this is the best and worst case scenario for this team. There's 3 different options, and it's up to the team that is still capable of doing great things this year. It depends on where they want to go, okay? Best case is they went out and they finished 14-2, and they run the absolute table. And we've seen this team win 8 games in a row before. They're capable to win, what would that be, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row. Could they do it against much tougher competition? Sure, why not? Defense is that good, okay? This defense is going to keep games tight. And we know that the identity of the team has a really good passing game, okay? So, and I know the turnovers were a major factor last night, but collectively, Alabama hasn't lost a turnover game, okay? That was the only time all year, I think, that they lost a turnover battle. This could be plausible, a 12-4 type season, okay? You get into the playoffs. And the worst case is that you end up with the same type of record that you do last year, which is 9-4. I don't think that this is going to happen. And the common denominator in all this starts with, number one, beating Eastern Illinois, and number two, beating Auburn. Beating Auburn is the absolute, okay? Alabama doesn't beat Auburn, it's done. It's done. We're playing, I don't know, hopefully not for the Mayo Bowl, but it's some weird bowl game that we'll be pissed off about, okay? So that's kind of your best case, worst case. But I will be back at 1 p.m. with more news as it happens. Look, plenty of football left, okay? You got to flush it out. I know, it's disgusting, okay? Get it out of your system. And I'll give you guys to 1 p.m. to sulk. And then I need more positivity, all right, at 1 p.m. as we turn the page to Eastern Illinois, all right? Still in this, 100% still in this. You could be a Texas fan right now, right? That could be, you could be a Texas fan. Yeah, Q, what's up, man? See you inside the com box. Thanks for joining us late, bro. All right, fam. See you guys at 1 p.m. Thanks for kicking it with me this morning right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Enjoy some NFL.